Welcome to Southern Virginia in the Fields, where the women's lacrosse team will take on the Saints from Marymount University. Marymount comes into this game at 7-4, 1-2 in the conference, while the Knights come in 6-6 and 0-3 in the conference. 0-4 in the conference. Great game though for the Knights if they can get back on their winning streak. The conference that they play in, the Capital Athletic Conference, 4 teams ranked in the top 20 this year. Just a phenomenal conference for lacrosse, and the women have really started to build, trying to get into some type of area where they can get into the Capital Athletic Conference tournament. Great record out of conference, and if we were in any other conference but the Capital Athletic Conference, the ladies would be near the top. But unfortunately, with those 4 teams in the top 20, we're going to have to really step up another level. But the Knights ladies have really played well this season. There you see Emily Lamb with a huge brace on her knee. Hopefully she'll be able to continue and compete throughout the day. The Knights ready to play Marymount, and again, like I said, going to be a great game between Marymount and the Saints. Starting for the Saints will be number 2, Kelly Kimball. Number 7, Katina Boaster. Number 8, Bridget Statcom. Number 10, Jessica Crew. Number 12, Natalie Tinkham. Number 13, Megan Higgins. Number 16, Stephanie Keene. Number 18, Holly Reich. Number 21, Michelle Castile. Number 26, Abby Westcott. Number 27, Leah Agrarius. And number 29, Bridget Odom. There in the draw circle, you see Lamb. And number 12, Natalie Tinkham. And they're going to redraw. While that's going on, we'll talk a little bit, or give you the roster, the starters for the Knights really fast. Number 2, Rainey Whitworth. Number 6, Michaela Knowles. Number 7, Claire Hotelin. Number 9, Kaifa Abdullah. Number 10, Zoe Bradshaw. 13, Ashley Allgreen. 14, Emily Lamb. 15, Megan Barfus. 17, Elizabeth Bonney. 23, Rachel Miller. And I think there's a number change there. And 26, Leah Smith. We know that Rachel Miller is in goal. And the first goal scored. Oh, no, they called a penalty. Trying to clear the goal out and passed Miller for a goal. Not quite the way that the Knights wanted to start this out. They're checking to make sure the stick again is legal and the goal is allowed. So a lack of clearing cost the Knights a quick goal 40 seconds into the first half. Back into the draw circle again, we have Lamb and Tinkham. Tinkham scored that first goal for the Saints. Ball's up. Still loose on the ground and picked up by Marymount. You see Marymount on the attack. And it's going to be imperative that the Knights defense doesn't give up a lot of transition goals. Nice switch between Whitworth and Bonnie. Nice save by Miller. Now this is where the Knights have had, when they've had problems, this is where they've had the problems, is the clear. Lays it down in the crease for Bradshaw to come pick up, and Bradshaw is going to clear it herself by running. And an errant pass by the Knights will turn the ball over to Marymount. Loose ball picked up by number 10, Crew. And Smith steps in, tries to clear it. Ground ball again, picked up by the Saints. Hopefully that first goal that the Saints scored caught the Knights by surprise and they can set up their defense. And we saw Rachel Miller make a great save just a minute ago. Oh, a free run down the middle by number 15, Kellen Cannon. And Cannon bounces the ball past Miller. They're going to check the stick. And we were talking about this earlier with our producer. They do a stick check before the game. Don't know why they have to check the sticks after a goal. I don't think the sticks are going to change. Number 16 that scored the goal, Stephanie Keene. So a quick start by the Saints. The Knights haven't got their offense going yet. And the big problem with the Knights so far has been unable to clear the ball. They've made some great defensive stops, just haven't been able to clear the ball. So now again we see Lamb and Tinkham. Ball's up and played by Odom of the Saints. And definitely going to have some possession time for the Knights. Whitworth with it, trying to weave her way down the field. Whitworth has great stick control and running past defenders. And finally we get the ball onto the offensive side of the field, lays it off to a Knight, but not able to hang on to it. And her stick was number 15, Megan Barfus. And so for a brief moment, the Knights were able to get the ball to their offensive end. Unfortunately, a pass that couldn't be handled turned it back over to the Saints. Great save by Rachel Miller with a shot right on her doorstep. Ground ball picked up by the Knights. Saints have the ball in control. Another pass right on the doorstep. Leah Smith was there to give a little stick check. Miller able to grab the ball in the crease. Looks for an outlet. Plays it back to Smith. Now Smith is a great freshman. Stick check, but they're going to call a foul with a contact too close to the head. Smith, one of the fabulous freshmen that the Knights have brought in this year, is going to have to play a bigger role today as we see some Knights are injured and not available. And there goes Smith down the middle of the field. Legal contact will be called. Again, another illegal contact. And Smith, such a crafty player and a strong player, can handle double and triple teams, but is able to use her stick skills just enough to hang on to the ball. Ground ball being battled for, and Smith has it momentarily. The Saints pick it up. As you see, number 10, Jessica Crew. Knights back into a man-to-man. Allowing the Saints to rotate the ball around the perimeter, which hasn't hurt them yet. It's been the shots right there that have hurt them. But then you see Rachel Miller come up with another great save. Lays the ball in the crease for Bradshaw to pick it up. Bradshaw goes streaking down the field trying to run past defenders. Dodges back to her left. Plays it over to Hotelin. Hotelin plays it ahead to Lamb. And you can tell Lamb's just not as comfortable as we've seen her out there before wearing that knee brace. Ground ball's picked up by the Saints. And there was an opportunity for the Knights to have an offensive transition. But again, Emily Lamb just does not look as comfortable as we've seen her before. Point blank shot. Gone wide to the right side of the goal. Looks like it was backed up by the Saints as they retain possession. We said Knights come into this game 0-4 in the conference, 6-6 overall. Marymount comes in with a 1-2 conference record. The Knights would dearly like to get their offense on track and get that first conference win of this season. Ground ball picked up by the Saints. And you can tell that the level of execution just isn't as crisp as either team would like. There's a great weave action on top as the Saints score. Again, have to check out the stick, make sure it's legal. And it's a allowable goal for Kelly Campbell. So at the 22:41 mark, the Saints take a 3-0 lead. A lot of other action going on in the Knights Athletic Kingdom today as baseball is away for a doubleheader. There's softball doubleheader that will be taking place starting at 2 o'clock. And right after this game, after about a 30-minute break, the men's lacrosse team will take on Christopher Newport. We talked earlier that this is a heavy lacrosse-oriented conference. 4 teams on the women's side ranked in the top 20. 4 teams on the men's side ranked in the top 20. You don't have a night off. There's no easy cupcake schedule once you get into the conference play. So, and we'll see one of those top-rated teams, Christopher Newport, ranked in the top 20 on the men's lacrosse team. The softball team just down the hill will be taking on Salisbury softball, who's ranked in the top 5. So it's a great day for athletics here at Southern Virginia and a wonderful day outside. A little on the cool side, a stiff breeze blowing. But just a great day to be outside and participate as a fan. And there we see a little bit of a weave action starting to happen. Oh, backdoor cut by the Saints. Faked the pass and then scored the goal past Rachel Miller. Again, looking to see if the goal is allowed. It's an allowable goal, and that will be the second goal of the day for Stephanie Keene. And with that, the Knights take a timeout. So it's 21:43 left to go in the first half. The Knights take a timeout. We'll be right back. All right, we're back at the fields with Southern Virginia trailing Marymount 4-0. Have to make a correction. In goal is Melanie Lytle. My apologies. I got my signals mixed up when I got the starting lineup. Rachel Miller is out on the field playing, but not in goal. So Melanie Lytle had some great saves so far. Again, I apologize to her, to Rachel, and to the coach. At face-off, we saw Claire Hotalan there as Marymount is able to pick up the loose ball. And during that timeout, I'm sure Coach Weber was just trying to... Great save by Lytle. I'm sure Coach Weber was just trying to settle the girls down. Remind them that they're a good group of goal scorers also, and just get the nerves out. Nice defense as we saw a double team there between Bonnie and Whitworth. There's Rachel Miller now guarding behind the goal. Errant pass as we saw some pressure put on by number 9, Kaif Abdullah. And there's a shot past Lytle, low and to her right. And they'll come over and again check the stick, make sure it's an allowable goal. As you see, number 26, Abby Westcott, waiting to get her stick back. And so now Marymount leads 5-0. And again, we haven't seen the Knights been able to get anything going offensively. They haven't won the draws. They haven't been able to clear successfully. Looking for the Knights to finally get that possession and the offense on a roll. Ball's loose. Picked up by Bradshaw. And on her spin, the ball comes out of her stick. Off Marymount. Out of bounds to the Knights. Ground ball. Picked up by Marymount. And right now, Marymount just seems to be a step quicker to all the ground balls that come loose. There's Lytle in goal. Miller marking her man. Lytle's able to pick up the ball. Tries to play it out to Whitworth. Whitworth gets hit from behind. Bonnie was able to pick it up. Loses it with a stick check. And goal past Lytle on her right-hand side. And again, another stick check to make sure this is an allowable goal. And it is by number 26, Westcott, who just scored the last goal. So now the goals are really starting to mount up for the Knights. Again, offensive possession is going to be imperative. They need to win this draw, get some time on their offensive end. Again, you can see just barely out of your picture a couple of Knights who would be valuable on the field right now, standing over there in crutches and in street clothes. Ground ball picked up by the Saints. Out of bounds to the Knights. Claire will start on the whistle. Dodges past one defender. There you see number 6, Knowles, with a shot on goal. Goalkeeper's equal to the task, but that's what you want to see if you're the Knights, is to find a shot on goal as many times as we can now. You see Lamb putting pressure on the pass, and the ball rolls out of bounds. Turn over to the Knights. So now the Knights, if they can continue to keep the ball in their half of the field, if they do miss a shot and the ball gets turned over to the Saints, if they can pressure. Oh, there's Zoe going straight to goal, and great shot high and to the right past the left ear of the goalkeeper. So again, the ritual of checking the stick to make sure it's a legal stick. Goals allowed by Bradshaw. So the Knights get on the scoreboard at 18:25 left in the first half. And maybe that'll start the Knights on a great streak to dig into this 5-goal lead now by the Saints. And that's all they needed was offensive possession, a chance to put a couple shots on goal. The second shot on goal went in for the Knights. So you got Hotelin and Tinkham in on the draw. Tinkham's able to pick up the ground ball. Lays it off to number 2, Campbell. Campbell goes to goal. Loses the ball out of her stick. And it looks like this might be the first free position shot of the day, as you have Campbell going up against the goalkeeper, Melanie Lytle. And Lytle is equal to the task the first time, and the second shot by Campbell is knocked away. Campbell's trying to get her stick on the goal, on the ball. I'm trying to figure out what the call was. It's going over to Marymount. So Marymount will retain possession, but Lytle with 2 point-blank saves against Campbell keeps him off the board for now. Now if the Knights defense can stiffen up, cause a turnover, get back down. Oh, and just a great pass. One-touch pass by the Saints. Not a lot that Lytle could do there. As you see Tinkham, who's been so good on the draw, has an allowable goal. And so now the Saints go back to that 6-goal lead. Hotelin and Tinkham in for the draw now. Draw 1 by Tinkham. Marymount with control. And a nice little skip shot in by number 21, Castile. Again, let's check the stick. And it is another allowable goal. There you see a little celebration by the Saints, as they now have a 7-goal lead over the Knights. And so far, within the first 14 minutes of this game, not only are the Saints winning on the scoreboard, but they're winning in just about every statistical category. Shots 16-2, shots on goal 15-1. Free position shots, we saw a great save by Melanie Lytle. So the Saints are 0-1 there as the Knights win that draw. You see Rain Whitworth with the ball. Lays it off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw dodges. Takes on a double team. Spins past the double team. Lays it off to Whitworth. Whitworth looking for some free space to work in. Wisely brings it out. And let's see what the Knights can get going on offense now. Whitworth loses control of the ball as she was trying to spin and dodge past the double team. Picked up by number 27, Agoris. Saints maintain control now. There you see Smith trying to mark up the ball. Lays it off to number 13, Ashley Allgreen. And we have to say, due to some injuries, some ladies playing out of position there, as you see the ball right past Lytle on her right side, high and in the corner. Again, another shot by Abby Westcott. Her third of the day. So injuries playing a huge part against the Knights right now, as many people are playing out of position and the Knights just not at full strength. One of the things that's a glaring problem that the Knights need to really work on is draw controls, as they've only won 2 out of 10. So we've seen both Lamb and Hotelin in. Lamb's back now. And see what she can do in this draw control. Ball's loose. And out of bounds to Marymount. Oh, a quick start. Fast break type action. And again, that's number 26, Westcott, who this time puts it to the left of Lytle. And again, that quick restart caused a huge offensive transition. The Knights were not able to get back in time. And Westcott with her 4th goal of the day. And if you're the Knights, this is not how you envision this game going on your own home field. Still, I know injuries are a huge part of all games. Marymount may be suffering with injuries too, but that when you get this deep in the season, injuries start to mount up. That really plays with your rotations and your comfort zone if you're a player out there on the field. Draw again, won by Marymount. As Tinkham has just been a stellar stud at the draw circle. Nice double team on the ball between Whitworth and Bradshaw. There's Tinkham on the doorstep and is able to get a goal past Lytle. And when you're that close to the goal, there's just not a lot that the goalkeeper can do. We've seen Lytle be able to block some of those shots right on goal, but just the onslaught as that for the Saints will be their 11th goal. And now one of the new rules in women's lacrosse is after you're up by 10, the clock keeps running no matter what. If the goal count goes down below 10, then they'll stop on the whistles. Marymount and Tinkham again wins draw control. Straight to goal and another goal for Marymount. As you see, number 21, Castile, with another goal on the afternoon. And this is one of those first halves that if you're the Knights or a Knights fans, you just want to put behind you. Start over again. So at the 12:45 mark, the Knights need to just erase the scoreboard in their head, start playing as it's 0-0, and slowly try to work their way back into this game. You see Marymount on the charge again. As you see, again, the Knights are in their man-to-man defense, trying to slow down this attack, but a lot of people out of position now for Knights, as we usually don't see Lamb on the defensive end. We usually don't see Miller out of goal. We usually don't see Abdullah in the game as much as they are right now. Some of the people that are missing: Faith Park, Chloe Lewis, Avery Bishop. So those young ladies unable to be in the game today has really put a lot of pressure on the Knights, having to play a little bit out of position. Here's a turnover for the Saints. As they got called for a form of stalling. Foul on the Knights on the ground ball. Possession goes back to the Saints. Miller marking up on her man now. See Bradshaw fake the double team. Nice pressure on the Saints. Can the Knights win the loose ball? They do. Get it over to Whitworth. Whitworth looking to clear now. Trying to find a teammate that's open. Lays it back to Smith. Smith over to Bradshaw. Bradshaw trying to take on the double teams. Plays it ahead to Allgreen. Allgreen on a fast break. Oh, and the stick check. They're going to call a foul. I think there's a stoppage in action as we have someone on the ground. And now this will be a free position shot for the Knights. All green, she has to her left Hotelin. All green to goal, and a goal scored. And if the Knights are able to mount just an offensive attack, we've been able to see them score 3 goals or 2 goals on 3 offensive attacks. Need to see more of that. Got to win some of these draws. So all green brings the deficit back down to 10. $8:45 left to go in the first half. And in the draw circle now is Michaela Knowles. Knights trying to find anybody that can win draws against number 16, Stephanie Keene. See what type of luck Knowles has in winning a draw. Ball's up. On the ground. Oh, and a dangerous play going to be called on Lamb as she tried to come in between the legs and up against one of the Marymount players. Marymount breaking down the field now. The Knights do a good job of getting back, setting their defense. Bradshaw out putting pressure on her man. Miller marking up as the ball goes behind the goal. Bonnie allowing her man to stay outside of 15 yards. Now Marymount's attack being very patient, trying to probe to find any type of lanes that the Knights may give them on defense. Defensively, the Knights trying to make sure that no one cuts past them. And if the ball gets within the 15 yards of the goal, going to put some little bit of extra pressure on them. This is going to really be taxing on the Knights as they're playing chase. And anytime you're chasing someone on defense, that just wears out your legs a little bit more. Foul on Lamb. She got her stick up around the head. Marymount again content just to keep moving the ball, moving people until they find wide open shots. There you can see Miller way out on number 21, Castile. Trying to put a little extra pressure on her. Hoping to turn the ball over. Smith also denying some passing lanes. Marymount again content just to possess the ball. Knights have to make sure that they can withstand the urge to go double team the ball too much, as that could leave an opening for a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, Lytle. There you see a little defensive switch as All Green goes down onto the defense, and we saw Bonnie come off. Trying to keep fresh legs on the defensive end. Under 5 minutes to go now. The Saints enjoyed a 10-goal lead over the Knights. Saint dodges past Bradshaw's defense as they're trying to put a little bit of pressure on it, force the Saints to make a move toward goal. Again, another switch on defense. All Green out, putting all types of pressure on the Saints now. Whitworth goes to double team. Forces an errant pass. Ball's up. And Bonnie is able to come away with it. Oh, the ball's checked out of her stick at the last moment, just as she was getting ready to dodge past one last Marymount defender. She had open room ahead of her. And now all that pressure defense and all that effort that the Knights exerted, they have to start it all over again. And we'll see what type of legs the Knights have left in this last 3 minutes of this half, as they've chased the Marymount Saints a lot over the last 10 minutes. Nice switch there from Bradshaw to Whitworth. Whitworth pressing up. Going to be a contact foul. Looks like it's going to be a yellow card on number 13, All Green. And now they'll go a man down. And just when you thought you were chasing a lot with even strength, now going a man down, you have to chase even more. We'll see if the Knights' man-down defense can kill this penalty. Oh, and there's a huge shot right past the goalkeeper, Melanie Lytle. Low and below her waist. As number 22 from Marymount scores and pushes it back to an 11-point lead. So just when it looked like the Knights may be starting to get a little bit of momentum, having to chase the Saints for so long on defense, their legs just start to give out, and another goal scored. Marymount able to start with the ball. Again, we'll probably try to get the last shot of this half. The Knights pressing up on defense, wanting to try to cause any type of turnover that they can. Nice talking between Bonnie and Bradshaw. "40 seconds left to go in the half, and the halftime cannot come soon enough for the Knights, as they need to really regroup now." Nice defense by Lamb, stepping over and helping. Miller goes to double team. Again, this scrambling defense, being a man, really is taking a lot of toll on the Knights. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are at halftime. And at half, the Marymount Saints lead your Knights 13-2. We'll take a short timeout and come back right before the start of the second half. This is Mike Harmon back at the fields at Southern Virginia University, where the Marymount Saints lead the Southern Virginia Knights 13-2. In other action, the men's baseball team is away at Wesley, and at the bottom of the third, they trail 2-1. Some stats in that first half. Unfortunately, not only is the goals going against the Knights, but all the other stats are going against the Knights too, as they are outshot in the period 21-3. Marymount had the edge in ground balls, 12-8. The saves by the period, though, the Southern Virginia's saved 7 to Marymount's 1. Draw controls is where the Knights really need to pick it up, as they lost the draw controls 13-2. And clears, the Knights were only able to clear 2 out of 10 and before turning the ball over to the Saints. So there's a lot of things that the Knights can do better. Hopefully in the second half they'll put all that behind them and start it afresh and anew. Lamb back in the draw control for the Knights. Ball's loose and controlled by Marymount. As a fast break coming down the field. Ball's loose and on the ground. Smith is able to knock it away momentarily from a Saint, as Bradshaw is leveled. Foul beyond Marymount as the Knights are able to maintain possession. Bradshaw gets past a defender. Able to keep her footing. Dodges. Gets the ball into the offensive end for the Knights. And that's a great sign, as in the first half, for the first 3 minutes, the Knights were not able to do that. Whitworth goes to goal and shoots and scores in the first 54 seconds of this half. As the Knights are able to close the lead now. Whitworth picks up her first of the game. And now that brings it down to a 10-goal lead. Great start for the Knights. Again, they just have to put behind them what happened in that first half and continue to play aggressively. Draw control is going to be a key for the Knights, and also clearing is going to be a key for the Knights. And we saw them not win the draw control, but be able to clear successfully, which led to the goal by Whitworth. Lamb back in draw against Tinkham. And the draw control's won. Smith with it. Forced out by Marymount. Smith will start it up. Get the ball down in the offensive end for the Knights. Going to goal, and there's no one there to stop her. Was funneled off at the last second as the Knights maintain control. And there's a goal that trickled in. As Megan Barfus was able to just get it past the outreached arms of the goalkeeper of Marymount. And that brings the Knights again 1 goal closer. Now there's a 9-goal deficit, and Marymount calls a timeout. As we look to baseball now, at the top of the fourth, Wesley has a 2-run lead as they lead 3-1 against our Knights. Down the hill, the softball team is just getting ready to start their doubleheader against Salisbury, and we'll check in on them. And here in the first 3 minutes, the Knights have been able to score as many goals as they did in the first half and bring this back to a 9-goal deficit. In the first half, we saw Marymount go into a stall in the last 10 minutes, only scoring 2 goals in that last 10 minutes, but just maintaining possession during that whole time. That may come back to haunt them, as the Knights have found a hot streak in this first 3 minutes of the second half. And I'm sure in goal that Melanie Lytle is enjoying not having the pressure that she faced in the first half, as the Knights are being able to keep the ball in their offensive end. Lamb looking around, finding out where her players are, trying to win the draw here. Flicks it back. Smith is able to come up with the ball. Looked like she was trying to pass it off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw was trying to set a screen for her. Marymount picks up the ground ball. As you see, number 21, Castile, take the ball from one side of the field to the other. Oh, and that's just great ball movement, as we had 2 cutters come from outside the arc. So if we were in hockey, we'd have 2 assists. The assist that led to the assist that led to the goal scored. And now that pushes the lead back to 10, as number 16, Keene, gets another goal for the day. And that time, just great ball movement by Marymount. Caught the Knights in some switches, and they were able to get the ball past Lytle to again enjoy the 10-goal lead. Back into draw. Tinkham and Lamb. Oh, great snag out of the air by Marymount. That's number 27, Agoris. Agoris temporarily loses the ball. And Lytle with a huge save. Now here's where the Knights need to shore up some of their deficiencies, is on the clear. Not able to clear the ball. And looks like we may have another free position shot here. Whitworth is the closest defender. She's going to have to close down quick and hard. And the Knights defense is able to shut down that free position shot. A little bit of a weave action by the Saints. Nice double team between Smith and Bradshaw. And there's a goal by number 12, Tinkham, who shoots the ball down low, skips it in between Lytle's legs for goal number 15 for Marymount. And just like that, Marymount comes back to regain that huge lead that they had at the halftime. Down at the softball field, top of the first, the Knights not having a great start against Salisbury Seagulls, who's ranked in the top 20 for softball, as the Seagulls are leading 3-0 with a runner on third and no outs. Ball's picked up by the Saints. Saints again on the attack. Knights defense trying to get back, slow down that transition. Looks like the Saints may slow it down a little bit, try to work some clock, but also be probing to find any type of openings that the defense may get them. The Knights, on the other hand, trying to shut down all angles to the goal. And there's an errant pass. It'll turn over to the Knights. Bradshaw over to pick up the ball to start it. Bradshaw looking to clear the ball. Dodges over near the sideline. Going to be a contact foul on Marymount. Bradshaw remain in control. Taking it down the near sideline. Nice spin. Looks like she may be going to goal, looking for a shot. Spins back. The Marymount defense able to slow that rush to goal. Whitworth being double teamed. And Whitworth with the free position shot at the top of the circle. Bradshaw goes in, funneled back out. Didn't like what she saw. Lays it off to Bonnie. Or Allgreen, excuse me. Legal contact by the Knights as the ball was on the ground. Turn it over to the Saints. The Saints in a quick rush down the field. As the Knights are able to get back in defensive transition, try to set up their defense. Again, try to force any type of turnover that they can in order to get the ball back so they can make their transition to offense. And now we're seeing just a deliberate pace by the Saints. Have the time and score on their side, and they're milking the clock as much as possible. Again, probing the outside as the Knights are marking their men. Quick ball movement. And there may be the opening that the Knights needed. Ground ball. Looks like we'll have an illegal contact on Marymount as Rainey Whitworth was pushed down. Ball would go over to the Knights on that foul. Whitworth looking to make the clear. Whitworth able to go past several defenders now as the Knights are trying to set up some type of offensive break. Hotelin with the ball. Looks like she was trying to pass it off to Allgreen. Stick got checked. And the ground ball picked up by the Saints. Number 13, Megan Higgins. Now it's the Saints' turn to try to clear. I'd like to see the Knights put some pressure on them. Bridget Odom Lays it off to number 10, Jessica Crew, and Crew's able to get it past Lytle. Checking confirmation to make sure that the goal is allowed. Don't want a violation on an illegal stick. And the goal is good. So the Knights were able to start very fast in this second half. But since the 2 goals that they scored in the first 2 minutes, it's been all Saints afterwards. So with 17:25 left to go in this second half, Marymount has a 12-goal lead. Lamb and Tinkham back in. Sorry, that's not Lamb, that's Hotelin. And Tinkham in for draw. Bradshaw picks up the ground ball. Goes racing past several defenders. And going to have a foul on Wesley, which will give a free shot. A free position shot to Bradshaw at the top of the circle. Great opportunity for Bradshaw. Oh, and a huge save as she tried to skip it in past the goalkeeper. Long clearing pass. Ball's on the ground. And picked up by the Knights' Leah Smith. Smith is taking on the double team. Making sure she doesn't step out of bounds. Weaving and dodging in and out. And we'll have a contact foul against Marymount. Smith will have the ball to start it. Lays it off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw with an attack on the goal and scores a goal. So again, Bradshaw found a small opening in the defense of the Saints. Was able to go to goal, sneak it past Holly Reek, the goalkeeper, for the Knights' 5th goal. So 15-10 left to go in the second half. The Knights with an 11 goal deficit. Hotelin and Tinkham back in the draw circle. And the Knights have limited their turnovers but not been able to win the draws as they would like to. There's Tinkham with the ball, winning the control. Plays it ahead. Marymount elects to bring it back out as number 10 Crew had a path to the goal. Oh, and there's another goal. Goal by number 22 Sadaf. And I'm going to butcher this last name. I apologize to her and her parents. Naja Fadaza. Her 2nd goal of the game. So just when the Knights start to dig into the deficit, the Saints say no, 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 and score a goal to push it back to 12. Lamb now back into the draw circle with Tinkham. Draws won by the Saints as Agoras goes straight down the middle of the field. Is funneled out finally by Leah Smith. Nice double team as the Knights come in. Try to knock the ball out of the stick. The ground ball won by Marymount. And again, scoring time on their side. Only going to take a shot when it is advantageous to them. Tinkham dodged past Bradshaw. Was turned away at the last moment by a host of defenders of the Knights. Again, Marymount content. Running a lot of patterns and a errant pass there as Whitworth is able to scoop it up and get on the offensive transition for the Knights. Whitworth moved over to her right-hand side, looking like she wanted to fire the shot. Lays it off to Ho Tae Lin. Megan Barfus with the ball. Ground ball. And illegal contact will turn the ball over to Marymount. And that was a good attack by the Knights. Not able to finish it off as we see that the Marymount defense stiffened up at the right time. Big push by Marymount. On goal. And a 3-on-2 fast break situation as the shot was taken by Abby Westcott for goal number 18. And that just goes to show you how stacked the Capital Athletic Conference is in women's lacrosse and also in men's lacrosse. But right now, Marymount comes in with a 1-2 record, and they're handling Southern Virginia easily. Southern Virginia comes in with a 6-6 record, 0-4 in the conference. So they're 6-2 outside of the conference. You just couldn't imagine how tough a lacrosse conference that the Capital Athletic Conference is. And we'll see that on the men's side also. So now under 10 minutes to go, Marymount enjoys a 13-goal lead. The Knights need to try to win some of these draws as Marymount has just mastered them today. And sometimes the matchups just go that way. Again, we see Marymount bring the ball out, and in a set offense, they try to run a lot of clock. If they have a fast break, a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1 fast break, they will take it straight to goal. Smith is out putting a lot of pressure on Tinkham, trying to force an errant pass or a ground ball. Marymount looks like they're just content playing keep away. Whitworth picked off by her own man momentarily, as the pattern that the Saints are running causes just those inadvertent screens. See Bonnie trying to force any type of turnover that they can. Bradshaw out aggressively. Lamb steps up, tries to double team. And this has turned into just a good old-fashioned game of keep away. And unfortunately for the Knights, there's nothing that they can really do about it except put the pressure on. There's no shot clock in women's lacrosse, which is a rule that I believe they're rectifying in the next couple of years. They need to have a shot clock like the men, which wouldn't allow for this stalling and allow teams to get back into games. And there's an errant pass. Finally, the Knights will be able to gain possession. Now let's see if they can clear the ball. Bradshaw looking to take on a couple defenders. Lamb with a little bit of interference there on one of the defenders. Great job. Nice little screen. Bradshaw loses the ball. And the ground ball picked up by Marymount. Number 5, Alex Delgado. Marymount again. Get the ball into the offensive zone and be content just to run clock now. And the Knights have to expend a lot of energy trying to force any kind of turnovers. Once the turnover is forced, and there's a wide open number 8, Bridget Statham didn't even look at the goal. As they're on the end where their coach is, the coaches are barking out orders. Statham had a great opening straight to goal as there was no defender between her and the goal and just brought it back out. Nice deflection by Allgreen. Just not able to control it. And a deflection by Knowles. Knowles is able to come up with the ground ball. And a whistle. It looks like the Knights may have called a timeout. So with 5:46 left to go in the second half, Marymount leads the Knights 18-5. Stay with us as we will be right back. And we're back as the Knights come out of that timeout. They'll retain possession, looking to clear, and this has been a sticking point all day long against this Marymount defense is clearing the ball. During the timeout, and huge screen by Leah Smith, and they're going to call her as a moving screen. And if I was Smith, I would probably be protesting that too. That was a huge screen by Leah Smith. Now, during the timeout, you can see Zoe Bradshaw was over getting some attention on her calf. Trying to stretch it out. Maybe experiencing some effects of cramping. Again, as the Knights have had to expend a lot of energy today, chasing this Marymount offense around for multiple minutes per possession. Quick update on baseball as the men's baseball team is at Wesley College, and these are two games that the men really need to win in order to project themselves up in the standings so they can get into the conference tournament. They trail Wesley at the top of 6, 3-4. Meanwhile, just down the hill on the softball field, the Knights are taking on number 9 Salisbury, and at the top of the second, it is 8-0 for Salisbury. Ball was temporarily knocked loose by Rachel, but Marymount was able to pick it up. Smith out trying to put pressure on as, again, Marymount is very content with just running the clock out, maintaining possession. You can see Knights team members such as Whitworth trying to put a lot of pressure on the defense. And there's going to be an errant pass. Smith will be over to pick the ball up. And as they start it and look to clear, with just at the 3-minute mark, the Knights looking to get at least one more goal on the board. And the ball just slips out of Barfus's stick. Ground ball, still loose, and is picked up by number 2 Campbell of the Saints. Stoppage of play. Have to see what the referees call. Such a technical sport. I don't understand how the referees can keep all these rules straight in their mind. But it turns the ball over, regardless, to the Knights. Leah Smith looking to clear. We'll have an illegal contact on number 8, Bridget Stakem of the Saints. Another foul. So Smith retains possession. Tried to play the ball back to Bradshaw. Knocked out of bounds. Bradshaw with a spin. Ball comes out of the sticks, loose on the ground, and finally secured by Crew of Marymount. Errant pass. Ball's on the ground, picked up by Bradshaw. On the ground again, and finally in possession of the Saints. And we're going to see double teams come as we're under a minute now. Marymount just trying to run this last minute out. Knights trying to create on the defensive end so they can have one more chance. Errant pass picked up by Bradshaw. 27 seconds left to go.